morning. Funny light there this morning. The sun is up actually. It's a really nice day. It's going to be a beautiful blue sky. But down here in the canyon here, it's still dark. It's chilly, so. Chilly, chilly. Good morning, good morning. I guess for you guys over there, most people out there watching this, it's still Christmas Day, I guess. Yeah, most of the light you're seeing here on these buildings is reflections from somewhere else. It's funny, because the light is so low right now. The sun is hitting a building, reflecting over there and reflecting back. Like that sunlight you see on the ground here, that's got to be a triple reflection, I think. So they uncovered it yesterday. They were up for business last night. They had customers yesterday. They were full, packed last night. They're up and running. They made their promise to get ready by Christmas. So. Good morning, guys. Hello. Merry Christmas to everybody who does that sort of thing. Whoops. Let's go. It'll be a straight ahead stream today. Got a couple of things to do. One is we of course still have lots of carving. We'll continue on that. We got a batch of prints from Chiharu-san. These are not anything new. This is a reprint of ours from blocks I made. And maybe I could go through and pick some chiri. It seems they're okay. She's done a nice job. Again, the same thing I repeat to everybody all the time. The consistency is what we get from our professional printers. Isn't it? This is Chiharu-san. She's an outside printer, works at home in Nagano. And the number one thing is just consistent color and impression all the way through. There'll be 80 or so copies of this. Let's zoom in. This would have been a candidate for this year's series because this is a Koryusai reproduction that I made many years ago. So this could have been, if we hadn't already got it available, this could have been something that could have gone in this year's series. Anyway, put it aside. It'll go. I'll check it this afternoon. It'll go to Ome, ready for shipping out. So carving. We have a fun show and tell today. And we'll get there. In fact, the show and tell may take a bit longer than normal. It's a package I got, and supposedly there's supposed to be 21 prints inside here. It feels a bit thin, but there's supposed to be 21 prints inside here. We'll have a look at these at the end of the stream. It was a mixed bag of auctions. The guy put a bunch of individual prints up and put them up. Yeah, paper is out. Thank you. Paper was out at 6 o'clock this morning. Ishikawa-san's up there doing another batch of the New Year cards, ready for sending to Patreon people. So. You can't put it on the album if it's already been released as a single. I guess so. That's right. It works the other way around, right? I don't know. We got a couple of letters to open. This is from Karen in Texas. She sent something over. It says greeting cards and a poster from Karen. But I see she's not here today or yet. So we'll wait and see until she gets here. On a Christmas card, I guess. Okay, let's dig in. Let's dig in, let's dig in. So I hope everybody's having a peaceful time out there. I know it's been really quiet for me here. The mailbox and the inbox has been very, very quiet. We're not unhappy about that at all. Very, very peaceful here. So we've had a staggeringly busy month. It's been spectacular, but it's going to get quiet now. So that suits us just fine. You know. Okay, let's work on this leaf here. In fact, our focus now will change. We'll just get the year out here, get stuff shipped and cleaned up. Then we'll have a giant cleanup at the end of December. And then once we move into January, it'll be quiet for sales online and stuff. The regular crowd will work on the subscription prints. And then myself and Aoyama-san and Cameron, it's time for us to get serious about the new version of the shop and what to do and what construction to start and stuff like that. And that'll start happening in January. So. And in a normal year for me, come January, February, it's time to go over to Canada to see my family, but that obviously can't happen this year. So. The footsteps upstairs. Did somebody come in? Did Ishikawa-san come in? I didn't see. So yeah, the water cleaning, yes. Come New Year's Eve or whatever, I'll take the flask up to the shrine and clean it out. Try and do a bit better job this year. Like I can tell. We've got to put clean, cold water in there so it survives. But nobody here knows what to expect this year. The shrine is usually, of course, extremely busy all through the end of the year into January, February, March, the first few days of January. But the government is strongly asking people, don't do this year. Stay away from the shrines and temples at New Year, or stagger out your visits. Don't try and make it all on the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. There had also been a move by the government to try and extend the traditional holiday season. Instead of companies shutting down for 3 days, asking them to shut down for like 10 days. But that didn't seem to get any traction, so. But it's going to be, I think, very, very quiet. And I wasn't quite sure how I should be spending my own time, January 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. But something came up the other day which has sort of decided what my New Year is going to look like. And it goes back a few years. I made the My Solitudes prints. I don't even know when that was, back in 2005 or 6 or something like that. And when I made that set of prints, they were, of course, as subscriptions. And I made 200 copies of each one. But I never had that many subscribers at the time. There was only about, it varied from 70 to 80 to 90 subscribers at any time during the years I was making that series. It took 3 years to make them. So although I made 200 prints, what I did was, over the course of the 3 months, I did the carving, printed the first batch of 100. Myself and my packing lady then sent them out. Then I printed a second batch of 100 because I was sure the number of subscribers was going to grow. it sort of actually didn't, and it stayed stable around 80 or so for the 3 years of the project. But I religiously did my job and made all the prints, except for the 12th one, the final one in this series. I made the first 100. They went out to subscribers. And then I was pressed to get busy with the new series, whatever it was. I don't remember. The Mystique of the Japanese print maybe was what followed that. I was really excited about that, got going on it. And I didn't print the second batch of 100 copies of the 12th print in this set. It didn't matter. The stuff just sat in a drawer for 5 years, or maybe nearly 10 years, I guess, actually. But last year, or maybe 2 years ago, from Moko Hankan here, we put those prints into Moko Hankan as a possible subscription. And people have been subscribing to it. So you know where this story goes. Ome gave me a warning about a year ago. They said, Dave, we've got subscribers for this series. They're starting now. They're going to be at the 12th print a year from now. We're going to need more copies of that thing. You know, do your job. Finish off what you started back in 2008 or whatever. I took note and said, okay, yeah, I'll get to it. This was a year or so ago. Then 6 months or so ago, she warned me again, Dave, we're getting closer, you know. Some of these people, they're at print number 6 now. They're going to be wanting print number 12. And I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll get to it. And you know the rest of the story. And we are now here. And she told me the other day, she said, that's it. I've just shipped print number 11 to half a dozen people. And, you know, come January, they are going to want print number 12. And I'm like, why didn't you tell me earlier? Something like this, you know. So here we are. So I have a job to do, and she sent me the block set. It's right here. It's at the bottom of my bench here right now. She sent me the block set for the 12th print. And I have paper. I set it aside. Back at that time, the paper was all prepared. It was sized and prepared, ready for use. And it's been sitting there waiting, just resting and sleeping and waiting for, I guess, about 10 years. So anyway, I have to get to this. So when is a good time for it? You know, carving and stuff, you can get disturbed and disrupted, and people can come and talk to you, and you can do all kinds of stuff. It's easy. But printing doesn't work like that. Printing requires unobstructed, uninterrupted time. So there is Dave's New Year project. Obviously, once we're all shut here, nobody's coming in, the printers are all at home, they're not sending me jobs, the shipping center is shut down. It looks like I have a project. Clean up one of the benches upstairs, get some brushes and stuff ready. And get to it. So this isn't a promise yet, but it could be then that some of these streams in early January could be coming to you from the printing bench upstairs. We'll see how it goes. Well, there's some subscribers here, are you? so good. Fly fish for fun. Are you one of these people? Okay, thank you very much. I didn't know that. I don't know who's who really here in some cases, you know. So my Solitude 12 is going to be uber rare. No, it's not. It's the same as all the rest of them, but, you know. If we do that, it'll have to be a little bit of a different thing, you know. I know it depends what color I'm printing and stuff. Some colors are more, you know, like I would never try and do a wide, strong, deep background color because the moisture control is desperate. And if I took 10 seconds out to look at this, the brush and block would be different. So I'll never be doing something like that on a stream. But if there's a patchy color, that 12th print is full of pebbles and stuff like that. So there's some light toned colors. I could do those and chat and do those, and it's a bit ripply and wet anyway. So we can do this. I'm not sure about the schedule. I don't even know what times Saturdays and Mondays, January 1st, 2nd. I haven't looked at the calendar yet. So, but anyway, the work has to be done. It'll take me 3 or 4 days to do it, and it'll be a stream day somewhere in there. I've got to make 100 copies. And as I said, I made 200 of each, a batch of 100, second batch of 100. So I've got to make another 100 copies. And yeah, if Cameron was here, that would be cool, but that's almost certainly not going to happen, you know. So. And for those of you who have never seen a printing stream, they are kind of boring, you know. I mean, you see the block and the pigment goes on and the paste goes on and Dave brushes it and prints one, and then he starts all over again and does exactly the same thing 100 times, you know. But yeah, it would be good to have a variety. So, I mean, we haven't had on the stream for a long time. It would be good to do that. So I'll try and see if I can organize it. Not sure about the second camera too. My cable. Well, I guess we could do this if I put one camera on the printing bench, like the camera here, this one would do, and then the outside camera, what I could maybe do, this might be fun, I could take the outside camera and take it outside onto the balcony up there. The printer's room upstairs, the 3rd floor at the front of the building here, there's a balcony out there. So I could take the camera, the outside camera that we have here, and take it upstairs. It's the same sort of view, but it would be a different, shot from upstairs. Might be able to get a wider view, I'm not sure. I have to think about it. From up on top of our roof, we can't see this from the 3rd floor windows, but from up on the roof, we can see the pagoda at Shenzhou. We can see the top half or so of the pagoda. We can't see the temple itself, but we can see the pagoda. And we can see much more of the sky tree, of course, from up there. Get a drone, not possible here, not legal. We can't fly drones in a built-up area like this. Drones in Japan are quite strictly controlled. If I tried flying one here, I'd be in trouble, big trouble. Out in Ome, it might be okay, I guess, if I could do that in the mountainside around behind my house, but down here in Tokyo, absolutely impossible. Last year, when there were still tourists here, some tourists did do that. They did it's probably out there on YouTube somewhere. They did it in the evening. They got a great shots. They brought a drone and lifted it up over Shenzhou and got some nice views of the lights and stuff. And I guess they did it in a kind of a guerrilla way. They didn't sort of stand there flying it like this. Nobody could tell where this thing was being flown from. So I guess the police are running around, what's going on, but they couldn't tell whose it was or whatever. So I guess the guys got away with it. They just landed it quietly, somewhere quiet, and they scooped out. So there is a YouTube video out there of Asakusa at night, taken from a drone. But it's not legal to do that. Yeah, that would be so cool for this stream. Dave sits here carving. In the meantime, the Mokohankan autonomous drone is flying around Asakusa, catching good views. You know, that would be fun, but not going to happen. I guess at some point in the future, when drones like get the insect size and whatever, and you're flying a drone, it's just like a fly. It buzzes up and flies around, doesn't bother anybody, you know. I suppose when drones get to that level of technology, but I think we're quite a ways away from that yet. So. Camera on a balloon. So, I guess that would be okay. I guess just float a balloon up from Mokohankan, and I guess it's possible. I don't know. No idea. No idea. Nice, coming along, coming along. She's coming along, bit by bit. It's awfully slow progress, but maybe what I've done so far, would that be one day's work? I don't know. I don't know how much time I've spent on this so far. Don't know. Was learning Japanese difficult? How long did it take to get used to it? I don't do any studying. I've just, whatever Japanese I have, it's just whatever comes from having lived here and trying to talk to people. So I don't study at all. So it's very easy because there's no stress, there's no exams, there's no nothing. I screw up, just learn what I can learn. So it's sort of just like kids learn. When you grow up, the people around you, you copy what they're doing. So it's an ongoing process. I can't read complicated, complex financial newspapers and stuff. What magnification is the scope? Almost zero. I don't know what it is, but when I sit back here now and look at this, it's not zero, it's whatever. It maybe makes it about double size. It's really hard to analyze. There's no high magnification. I can see my whole hand here under the scope when I do this. There's no dramatic magnification. It's what's called a stereo microscope. And the lenses up top say 10x, but that's just one part of the package. And we've got a lens at the bottom that's 0.5x. We're enlarging it at the bottom here. So lots of conversation. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. How did you learn to read without lessons? Signs, name cards, everything in front of you. I think when I was a kid, my mother's here, she could quantify this. I was a compulsive reader. If something comes in front of my face, I had to read it. You couldn't leave stuff without being read. And coming here, the same thing. When there's a sign in front of my face, I just want to read it. And at first, it's just Greek, but you learn one character, another character, combination. You ask somebody, you figure it out. So as I said, I can't sit here and if I had a newspaper here, I could not read aloud to you the entire newspaper. I could pick through and figure out what the stories are like. So my conversational Japanese is fine. I can give speeches, do all this stuff, no problem at all. Listen and talk. My writing ability is zero. I have never picked up a pen to try and write. I don't write at all. And reading is maybe middle school level, something like that, early middle school level. I don't know. If you're looking for a scope like this, whatever, just do your Google search. It's called a stereo microscope. It's not the kind that looks at viruses and bacteria and stuff like that. They use it for inspecting integrated circuits and stuff like that. They're not that expensive, a few $100s. Stereo microscope. This is a Meiji brand. There's a bunch of different brands. Any news on the knives? They're working. A box of blades arrived yesterday, actually, from one of our suppliers, a big box of blades. He had promised them by February. He delivered in December, which makes us a little bit nervous that they might be too carelessly made. The knife project is coming along. I have no news to announce. We're estimating March, April for getting stuff in the market. I don't see Karen yet. No, Karen's not here today. Maybe she's got something more important, more important to do today. It's okay. So we'll just hold on to that. It's no problem at all. It doesn't have to be done right now. Those telephone guys that were here the other day, you saw them on the stream. They were in there pulling wires and that sort of stuff. They didn't do much that day, but there were people back, was it yesterday or the day before? I can't remember. Yesterday. Maybe it was the day before. A telephone company truck pulled up and they dropped their cones on the sidewalk and away they went. And that was the day they moved my wire. My optical fiber runs along the front of the shop next door. And we're okay for it. They've given me permission to do that, but it was in the way of their new sign that they're going to be building soon. So yesterday was moving day for the wire. And I got the guy upstairs and showed him the back of our router. And when the wires were put into this place, I asked them to give me some extra fiber. What I mean is he was going to cut it off short at the back of our router. I said, no, please, we're not quite sure what part of the room or what we're going to be doing, where this router will sit. So don't cut that stuff off. Coil it up and just keep it behind the router. So we did, and this is whatever, 2014, a bunch of years ago when it first came in. And so I showed him this and said, look, if you need to pull back to get that wire, moved around, there's this extra length here, so please don't cut that thing and try and splice it. And he's like, oh, good, thanks, let's check this out, But it turned out they didn't need to do that. There was enough slack in the cable itself, or they could pull some from the other end. I don't know what they did. But they pulled it up and they didn't cut it, and they rerouted it. They just lifted it up and rerouted it over the area where the new sign will come. And it'll sit there quietly for another bunch of years. So that was good. I was really happy that it didn't get cut. The last thing I want is having a cut in my optical fiber. They can patch it and slice it, but always it degrades the signal. So they tell me, I don't know. Have I ever poked myself with a knife while wiping away wood debris? Not in a lot of years. And we chatted about this on the stream a while ago. And there's a really important thing for anybody who works with knives. This is not just Japanese printmaking. It's, in your kitchen, whatever. Anybody who works with knives, you absolutely have to get into your brain that you never touch your face or something with your knife hand. You knife here, you go wipe your hair or something with a knife in your hand, you're going to poke your eye out. So it's not just me, anybody who works with a knife, anybody. You put it down, touch your face, blow your nose, do whatever you're doing. You never casually touch yourself with your knife hand, absolutely. Lots of questions, lots of answers. Thank you again. Thanks always again. I don't say this often enough, but thanks always to the regulars for answering these conversations. It's so helpful. So helpful. So helpful. Getting the blue sky. It is a beautiful day today. It's going to be clean and clear. A perfect, beautiful day. Let's have a look just for a second. Look at this. There's our sky coming. Sky tree. Beautiful day today. Beautiful, beautiful day. It's going to be busy today out there. There will be lots of strollers, girls in kimonos. The rickshaw carts will be busy. Asakusa is a destination. There's no foreign tourists here, but they will be full of Japanese people today. Yeah. If we had this stream 4, 5, 6 hours later, you'd see a totally different street, just bustling with people, chatting, strolling. What's this from Marcus? The difference between myself and a master woodblock carver. Okay. We don't use the word master around here. It's just doesn't make any sense. Masters. I'm good at this. My friend Asuka-san, who trained here in Japan, so he's what's the word? He's the guy you're calling the master woodblock carver. There's videos about him too. Motoharu Asaka. And he's exactly my age. We're a couple of months apart. But the big difference is I'm self-taught, and he went through an apprenticeship. He worked around people who'd been doing it for many, many years. So there's huge differences between the way he does it and the way I do it. If you look at our finished prints, if we've made a reproduction print of something, if we look at our finished prints, you're not really going to be able to tell a whole lot of difference between them. It's finely carved, delicately carved, done blah, 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 as it should be. But the way we get there is completely different. And he does it, well, basically he does it the traditional way, Dave does it the self-taught way, and his way is better. Absolutely, his way is better. This is why, in recent years, the people who have come to Japan from overseas to learn how to do carving, I don't teach them. I don't even think about taking them as students. The young man who's working for us here now, Chon-san, the carver, young Casey-san, it's Saturday, he might be on the stream here if Taran Casey is here. He's learning from Asuka-san the official way. There's no official way because there's no rules about this. But he's learning from Asuka-san in the way that is the most efficient. And it would be better if I did it that way, but I'm not about to try and change now. I'll be 70 years old next year, and I'm not going to start trying to restart, you know. This is why we don't really have tutorial videos on carving, why we don't teach, because I do it the wrong way. It's not really a good way to do it. It's on our list of things to do that we'll put more information out there about, you know, how to do printmaking. But for the carving, it'll either have to be our young Chon-san here or Asuka-san. The other problem is I'm left-handed, which is a real, defect here. It's a real defect for printing, not so much for carving, but the way I use the tools is back-assed. So it's a bit too bad, actually. This is a bit of a downside to what we're doing here with the Twitch. You know, this stuff is all going out there. It's going on record. I guess years from now, people might be referring to this. Here we are. We've got a chance to see how the traditional Japanese carving is done. And this isn't actually sort of exactly how it's done. It's close, but it's not how it's done. And I was reminded of this. Somebody sent me a link to a Facebook page that was in Russian. It was a Russian printmakers group. And I was shocked, actually, by what I saw. They had taken X minutes of one of these streams, like 30 minutes or whatever of this stream, and they had analyzed it in terms of what angle I was cutting at, how often I used my front hand or back hand, or what I did, you know. And they were analyzing it in terms of, let's analyze the Japanese master carver's strokes so we can replicate this. And I'm like, no, not me. But what are you going to do? You know, what are you going to do? You know? So the only answer to this is to, and this will be Taran-san, Taran Casey. He's right-handed. He's training with Asuka-san. And he's actually doing it the traditional way. So assuming he stays with it, assuming he gets really good at this, assuming he's going to develop good social media skills, then yeah, his stream X years from now, or his videos, will be the ones to study for the classic technique. And in the meantime, he's going to make do with me. Nice. But I get it done. I get it done. Well, it's not traditional school of carving at a David Bull school. There's going to be no David Bull school. Dave just gets it done. I know it's not MacGyvering. That's a bit too exaggerated. It's just there's something that needs to be done. Look at the data, figure out how to do it. You know. So someone out there is a Russian who is doing it exactly the same, I guess. So I'm not being sarcastic about that. They're looking for information. That's Dave 40 years ago. I would have been desperate to see something like this. I would have analyzed it and, oh my God, I'll do this the same way. Of course I would have done that. It's no big deal. If you could do exactly the same thing as I'm doing, you'll make some beautiful prints. So it's okay. Just somebody here asked me, what are the differences? And there are. Again, whatever, the 1 minute lecture, I don't know how to talk about this, you know. The tradition, imagine the woodblock is here between you and me, the woodblock is here. The traditional carver, I'll imitate this, a right-handed carver with a right-handed knife gets on his block and he carves looking over at the back of his hand, and he looks down at the knife over the back of his hand, and he can see the line in advance where he's carving. He moves along and he can see the line where he's going, and he can see the line. Then Dave comes along, doesn't know anything about carving that way, because it's actually quite difficult. It's difficult to rotate your hand and wrist that way, but you can see what's going on. Dave comes along, doesn't know anything about this, just grabs a knife, there's a line, he puts his hand on the wood, and he cuts the line in front of him. And actually, it's not just me that decided to do that. The Yoshida book, done by Toshi Yoshida, shows him how to do it this way. You cut with the bevel, blah, 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 blah. That's wrong, 100% wrong, but they didn't know it because the Yoshida people were not trained craftsmen. They were people who basically sort of just fumbled around and did it themselves. Anyway, long story short, you're carving like this down the line, you can't see the line that's coming up. This is no good. This is a bad thing. This is a bug. This is not a feature. This is not good. You should be carving for the best results over the back of your hand. More difficult, train, practice till you get good, and you can now see the line coming up, and with the roll of your hand and your fingers, you can guide the knife left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. It's far, 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 far better to do it that way. But for me to try and change to do it that way now, I mean, come on, give me a break, go right back to the beginning. But Taran-san, is he here today? I haven't seen his name, Taran-san. If he's here, he is practicing and training this way. It's more difficult at the beginning, and it's much better at the end. The other thing about is moving the block. I know there's nobody like this now, but the old guys, the best guys, we are told, and maybe part of it's true, that they really didn't move the block so much. The block was there, they carved the outside, the inside, round, because you had this wonderful flexibility in your hand. The block didn't move so much. There's two advantages. One advantage is you don't waste time. Stop carving, move the block, where am I? Cut. Move the block, cut. Half of your time is gone moving the block. If you don't move it, 100% of your time is just simply cutting lines. And then when you do it that way, the lines have a certain bevel and an angle and a bevel and an angle that makes it much better to print. No Taran-san today. It's too bad because he could comment about this because he is training in that method. He's training in that method. So. And with me, you've seen this. I turn this block around and around and around and around because my repertoire of cuts is one. A real expert carver, cut this way, that way, this way, this way, this way. All these cuts that he's practiced. Dave has a repertoire of one cut. Under his nose, cutting towards him. Move the block, under his nose, cutting towards him. That's what you see me do minute after minute after minute after minute. Anyway, so it gets done. But so what should you do? I can't answer you. I know if you just want to enjoy making woodblock prints yourself and you're not going to quit your business as something else and become a professional carver, just carve naturally the way that feels most natural to you. It's okay. If you're like Taran and he says, I am going to be a master at this, if that's your goal, then yeah, you maybe should figure out that the traditional method might be the best for you and try and get some advice or guidance or practice that way. But for people out there who just want to try making some prints for fun, for pleasure, don't sweat it. Just pick up the knife and cut it. I mean, what's the worst that could happen? You could get as good as I am. Whatever. Printing is a different story. Printing is a different story. Very, very different story. Look at all this conversation. Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. The other day, was it the last stream from Thursday or was it the one from that before Monday? I can't remember which one it was. We've got the deal. Dave sits down with his lunch, his coffee, and his sandwich to try and read this, and I couldn't get through it. I had to get back to work, and I'm halfway down the scroll bar. I forget it was the last stream, so I don't always read all of this. I try and get through it, but if it's going to take me an hour and a half to read it all, I can't do that. So you're busy today. It's okay. I will browse through it, but I can't promise I can read everything. So. Thank God. No, come on. Don't say that. I'm really enjoying this community, It's very, very nice. I mean, I didn't... it's interesting to think about how this has come about. All I do is I sit here and work and turn on the camera for a few minutes. That's all I do. But the community aspect of this is something that has been created by the people out there, you know. I just sit here and tell stories and work, you know. And the community part has come from you people. I keep saying you guys. I'm sorry about that. Whatever. You know. So I enjoy it. Absolutely, I enjoy it. And if I wasn't doing this, if I wasn't the person at this end of the camera, I would enjoy, I think, watching this stream, you know. I don't know if I'd have time for it, but... what would really be cool, you know, could this happen at some point in the future? I don't know. Rather than this thing, at the moment it's sort of, this is Dave's Twitch channel, so be it. I'm here 3 days a week. But imagine if there were other people who could/would do this. Maybe, for example, Taran, or other people in our Mokahankan orbit here, whatever. So this could be a more frequent thing. I'm just thinking out loud here. If it was every day instead of 3 days a week, but I was here Mondays and Thursdays, whatever. It was somebody else was the Friday host, something like this. And we did it more often, but with different people doing it. So on the days when I wasn't actually this side of the camera, I could be that side of the camera, you know. If we had more people who were able and willing to do this, you know. And that would be fun. That would be really cool for me, you know. What's this? I couldn't resist. Dave's a classical music guy. Oh, you're talking about music, were you? But he enjoys XTC very much. Music, music, music. So the question, what kind of music do we listen to? These days, nothing. 0, 0, 0. There's 0. But when, you know, I've got my music library on a hard drive now. It used to be on my big desktop iMac, but I got nervous about losing it. So I've cloned it to a hard drive and backed it up. So I have my music library. And I've never been a stream subscriber and stuff like that. My era is records and CDs. And there are literally thousands of CDs in Ome. And they're all ripped. I've ripped them all, and they're all on this hard drive, and it's 80 gigs or something of music. And it reflects the different interests I've had at different times of my life. You know, back in the early days, it was just classical. That's all I listened to and thought about. That pop stuff, it was just, you know, drivel. Those Beatles, and give me a break, long hair, blah, 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 blah. I was a classical snob. Bit by bit, got that kicked out of me. Failing at classical music helped. So now if we looked at that hard drive, whatever, it's a bunch of different stuff on there. You know, it's easier sort of to list what I don't listen to. If it can be described like this, if it can be described as angry young men with guitars, then it's not on my playlist. And actually, John mentioned XTC, and early XTC is exactly that. It's angry young men with guitars wailing against the world. And I don't listen to that sort of stuff. Life is too short for that. But once those guys grew up and started creating music, that's when they really started doing something really, really, really interesting. Another one, gotta get some work done. The last video we put up, or 2 videos away, I used a Hiroshige print, the Kambara print of Night Snow. I used it as the splash screen for the video. So when you're strolling through our YouTube videos, you see this Hiroshige print of Kambara. And I gotta tell you, 10% of the comments on that video are, oh my God, I came here because of the Weezer. You know, it was used as a Weezer album cover. So after I saw this 1,000 times, I thought, okay, let's go listen to this. You know, maybe this is going to be something cool. Not for me, thanks. No, it didn't work for me. So didn't work for me. Angry. Okay, whatever. There are no angry old men with guitars, so I should change my phrase, angry men with guitars, or maybe women too. I'm not even trying to be sexist here. People with a guitar banging it and screaming some kind of lyrics in a hostile environment. I don't like that. And the rap too, it's just so much about hostility and in your face. That's just not Dave's style. I'm a quiet, peaceful guy, and just whatever, quiet, peaceful guy. No, rap hip-hop is just off my radar. I'm sorry. I didn't like what I first heard of it a decade ago, and I've just never picked it up. And I don't listen to radio these days, but if I was listening to the radio and that stuff came along, I would just change the channel. So whatever, So it's not a question of, I think this is evil and should be, just that's not my taste, that's all. The rap thing, I had this conversation with somebody, and I forget who, just a while ago, a couple of months ago. The guy says, Dave, you don't understand. That's really complex, intellectually profound stuff. These people who are rapping, they're so good at the poetry and creating the ideas, and so. And I'm like, okay, maybe, look. I didn't tell you it was no good. I agree that there's probably something there, but I can't get past the angry, ugly, in-your-face, hostile part of it. So just leave me alone, He says, well, you're missing out. And I'm like, I'm missing out on a lot of things. Don't worry about it, Don't worry about it. Are we okay for time? I don't have any sense of what time it is here. 9 o'clock. Look at that. We've eaten an hour already. We've eaten an hour. Oh, you're on a music kick. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. So this is chat derailed again. There's no derail here. There's no definition of derail, is there? What does that mean, derailed? There are no rails, I think. Oh, today is, this isn't something I'm going to be able to show you, but today is actually a very important day here at Moko Hong Kong, you know. And both Rei-chan and Ishikawa-san, two of our printers, they've been taking turns, you know, coming in, working upstairs, sometimes working at home. Both of them today are delivering to me their first batch of prints for the January print for next year's series. Now this is way, way late. The Ome people have been bugging me about this. When can we get packing? They want to pack it before January. They want to pack it, you know, like this. They wanted to have it packed a month ago, actually, ready for shipping out in early January. But we've whatever. It's taken some time to get this together. So, but today they are both delivering to me their packages of finished prints for the first print in next year's series. You know. And the blocks will now go out. They will go out today. あ、どうも。ありがとうございます。どうも。I know what that is. We won't be looking at it today, but we'll be talking about this in a future stream, a coming up stream. It's a good news, bad news story. It's something bad news that happened that will result in good news for our customers. So yeah, what I was saying, the blocks and paper go to Kubota-san, and he's going to do another 100 copies because we had originally thought the girls themselves, Ishikawa-san and Rei-chan, just if they each did one batch, that would be enough for subscribers. But it's working out that this series, it's not sold out yet. But we are now, we've booted past 150. And we call it a day at 200. We call it at 200. So we're not in any panic rush of being sold out. But so I get the prints today, this morning. They will be bringing them this morning. And Rei-chan may come even maybe during the stream, I don't know. How many nations do we have here? I don't have that information, I think. Does Twitch give me that information, where people are browsing from? I don't know. If I remember it at lunchtime, if I see this at lunchtime, I'll remember that. I'll check in the background with Twitch, and if I get some info, I'll let you know. Our YouTube analytics show quite capably, extensively, what countries people are watching YouTube videos from. And whether Twitch watches this same thing, I don't know. No idea. No idea. No, the printer fell and made 60 more great wave prints. No, it's a broken set. It's this bad news, good news story. It's a set of, there's no secret here. It's a set of Tokaido prints from Takamizawa. It's the exact same set that I showed in my David's Choice video a couple of months ago. And this is a broken set. There's a bunch missing, which means we have permission to break it up. We don't break stuff. We don't break books and sell the pages. We don't break nice print sets and sell them all separately. But a broken set, it's a beautiful Takamizawa set with 7 or 8 missing. and there's no hope. If it's got one missing, I've got one right here. There's a Takamizawa set waiting down by the bench. It's got one missing. And perhaps, if we're lucky, one will come out of that set, go into this set, and bang, we've got another complete set. But once there's 7 or 8 missing, there's no hope of recovering and getting it back together. So this set becomes a source for fixing other sets and for also, bang, spreading them out. So there's lots of people, after watching that video of ours, they wanted some of these Tokaido prints, but can't spend thousands of dollars on a set. So this will go into our flea market, assuming they're in good condition. Features on how many viewers in Japan or Germany? Yeah, I guess, okay, whatever. Again, I don't know off the top of my head, but I will look at the statistics and I will report back to what I let you know. Our YouTube stats roughly align with our sales. When we think about overseas sales for us, the last time Cameron and I ran the numbers, it was 60-something% going to the US, and our YouTube views showed the same thing. 60-some% were from the US. I have no idea what the Twitch is. Twitch is a bit different because we have time zones at play. I mean, we have no viewers here from very few viewers from Europe now because, of course, they're all trying to go to bed, you know. Whereas Americans are just relaxed in the evening. So that's not a fair comparison. So, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see what the numbers show. So I'll let you know what I find. But what might show then too, I didn't think of that, not the people who watch live, but the people who watch the Twitch stream on repeat, or not repeat, what's it called? I know. You know, when it's not live, when they pick it up on demand. So, and that's then nothing to do with time zones. So that will erase the time zone factor. So. The noises aren't rats, it's next door. They're still working. They've got a slow and steady process underway, clearly. They said they wanted to get open by the end of January, and they're working quite slowly, but very steadily, plugging away at it. So. grain's difficult both ways actually. It's a bit of a, the block's nice and hard. I'm not complaining about the wood. It's a good hard one. But it's difficult to figure out the grain. I guess the block is actually probably sliced at an angle through the trunk, or the wood was a twisted trunk or something, I don't know. So this wood, sometimes with a totally normal piece of wood, the wood grain is in a certain direction. So when I cut whatever this way, it planes smoothly, and the other way it doesn't. But this one is giving me trouble both ways. So it would have been, I guess, a twisted little piece of work. Won't matter at all to the finished print because it's just line work here. But just have to be a bit careful when you're digging. Make sure you dig in the right direction here. With a really bog standard block, once you've learned which way the grain is, then you know before you put your chisel in what's going on. I would know that, okay, there's the flower, this is the grain, that's against the grain. You know what you're doing. But if you've been watching, you've seen me every time I put down and pick up one of these things, I don't even know which way the grain is. I'll try one way first, doesn't seem to work, flip it round, oops, that's worse, come back and do it the other way. So this is a bit of a quick, quirky one. Not so much fun, but whatever. But it's hard. It's the important thing. These lines are going to print well and print for a long, long time. So, how's our time? Are we getting close? Oh, we're there. Okay, time to move on. Someone's vein, I'm cutting off the veins. They will be on a different block. The veins of these leaves are going to be on a different wood block, so don't sweat it. Don't sweat it. Oh, my mother's here again this morning. I wasn't sure if you were here. I see. At a new place. Oh, going to Christmas dinner with my sister to show. Christmas dinner with my sister. I'd like to be there. Can't be helped. Okay, let's go. Let's look at some prints. This is a mixed bag today here. It's a mixed bag. Oops. Zoom out. It's this game's from Yahoo Auctions last week. Somebody who is not a print person, because his other auctions are for teacups or whatever. I don't know what he had, a bunch of other stuff. So this guy wasn't a print person, and he had come across a bunch of other prints, and he had unfortunately done what I don't like. He split them all up and made one auction, two auctions, three auctions, four auctions. Just give me your batch of prints, let me bid on it, and I'll figure out what's in there. But he split them up, so I had to bid 7 times on these things, and some of them I let go. They just didn't look interesting. And what he had done was, he doesn't know anything about woodblock prints, so he just grabbed 1, 2, 3 prints, put them on one auction, 1, 2, 3 prints, put them on another auction. But he didn't take good pictures. And when you first browse through the auctions, it looked like one print, and he asked 1,500 yen for it. Nope, can't pay that much for that. But it turned out there were 3 prints in each of these little auctions. So once you realized there were 3 prints in each auction, paying 1,500 yen for it wasn't such a big deal. So that's what these are. They look like Taisho era, maybe early Showa, maybe some of them are late Meiji, I don't know, we'll see. So it arrived yesterday, and I was kind of busy. So this is an unboxing. My God, this is an unboxing today. As I said, there's 7 auctions, each of 3 prints, and it feels a little bit thin, but let's see. How are we going to get in here? Ishikawa-san, hello, good morning. It's all stuck together. What's going on? Oh, here we are. Paperclip, not a good sign. these people who get prints, that don't know what they are. They're just a junk dealer, and they've got these old woodblock prints and paper clips. Come on, give me a break. Here we are, in the middle at last. Okay. Paper clips, they mark. This guy, the clips have dug into the print. And of course, rust if you leave it there. I mean, look at this. He's paper clipped these things together. Or some previous owner has done this. No, he's done it. He's paper clipped them together. Give me a break. Oh well, we're not talking about, ancient Utamoto prints here. We're talking about some Taisho prints. And we have some fun stuff here. It's a real mixed bag. There's going to be ukiyo-e type prints. Let's dig through. This is a real mixed bag, but I can see right up front we have something for fun. We have these are pages taken out from some kind of a training book. It's a book that they would give to school kids to try and teach them how to do brush strokes, how to do drawing. And back in the old days, people learned one by one. You go to somebody, they'd show you how to draw. But once schools came into being, they wanted to teach art in schools. And all of a sudden, you've got teachers with a classroom of 40 kids. And the teacher is not a professional artist. So how do you do art class for kids when the art consists of drawing with a brush? You get artists to make models, cut them as woodblock prints, and publish them. And that's what these first few... Kajita Hanko, famous kuchie artist. Look at this, look at this, look at this. So these will be pages from an album of like a school textbook. They were printed as woodblocks, sent out to kids, and kids would have this as a textbook at school for being a master copy to show. And they would then imitate, try and draw, and the teacher would guide them as well as they possibly could to do this. So these first few prints, that's not what's on the bottom here, but these first few prints are pages from what's called a teihon. Teihon, it's a handbook. We have the English word handbook. I never thought about that. It's the same word, teihon, handbook. And this would have been a book of 40, 50 pages, and I guess they must have asked famous kuchie designers to do this. That's Hanko, Kajita Hanko. Let's move through, because this is going to take a while to dig through here. I don't even know what else is in this thing. Here's some more. These are more, oops. Folded and stapled. Yeah, wonderful. Thanks, guys. Oh, it's woodblock, but not as we know it. This is woodblock, not as we know it. These are opaque pigments slapped onto Chinese paper. My guess is this actually has come from China. This does not in any way look like a Japanese woodblock print. This looks like a Chinese woodblock print. It's on gasenshi. Whatever. Let's move through. Let's move through. Here we go. Ukiyo-e type prints. Let's have a look. This is more classical stuff here now. And what have we got? This is Taisho era subscription prints. We have lots of these in our collection. These were ukiyo-e reproductions made in about the 19-teens and the 1920s as subscription prints. In fact, we saw a few simple ones like this. Was it 2 weeks ago? We had some packages of subscription prints. This is Taisho era. This is nicely made. Nicely made. It's been backed and then torn off. Somebody's glued it back down and then unglued it. Well, this wasn't in the description. This is a kuchie. Look at this. An actual real... Oh, can we see some of this? Okay. This is nice. This is worth as much as the whole packet. Anyway, the hair. Get it? Can we find the light here? This is done with front rubbing. Shomenzuri, front rubbing. on top of the print after it's done. Look at this. Let's zoom in the eyes. It's a New Year's print. It's a New Year's print. This is a shuttlecock. What is it? Oh no, this is the battledore. It's used as a New Year decoration in a New Year's game. Any chance at reading the seals on this? Who is this? I don't remember who this is. I'm sorry. I know this is a known couturier. If you first guess Takeuchi Keishu, but don't quote me. I don't know. Google reverse image search will find this in a few minutes. No problem. This is a couturier print. You can see, for those of you who don't know what they are, there's fold marks. There's 2 fold lines, and the print originally would have been folded like this, stapled in the front of the magazine. And when people wanted to look at the magazine, out it came. They flipped it open and put it back and flipped it open. Very nice. Super, super thin, delicate paper. This is more thin than any kind of, whatever, we can... tissue paper. I mean, it's that kind of thinness, and it's been rubbed and rubbed and rubbed and rubbed and printed. Incredible. Another Taisho reproduction, the same group, same prints. Actually, there's a story behind this one. It's not one of those, I don't know the poetry. It's a Chinese poem. She's come out of the bath, and he, the cock, is speaking to her, and his wife, his partner's in the background, and she's not so happy. There's a funny story about the back of it. That looks like mostly what we're going to have here. These are Taisho era reproductions, and some of these are very nicely made. Look at this, look at this, look at this. Kimedashi, it's been pushed from the back in certain places up to give this fabric here. They've given it a plumpy feeling by pushing it from the back. I don't know if you can see it in the light here. This part you can see is pushed forward to give a three-dimensional effect. We've got lots of oxidization here. There would have been a vermilion pigment that has oxidized. This is tastefully done. Look at the carving on that nose. Very tastefully done. That is very fine work. Very fine work. Oh, look at this. Look at this. This is fun. This is fun. I was going to say, this almost looks like an original. It's so good. Now, it's not. You can clearly tell by the paper quality, it's not an original. But we have a publisher's mark here. This should be familiar to anybody who's been a collector of Shinhanga. Got it? It's a circle with 4 katakana characters in here. So I'm going to go for it before I tell you what it is. Bingo, John's got it. Hey, chocolate eggs, chocolate eggs. Did you read that or did you know by the shape? It is, it's watanabe, it's katakana, watanabe. And this is the seal, it's not a seal, it's carved in the color block. They used this on huge ones of their Shinhanga prints. And this is Watanabe's early days. Before they started making Shinhanga, they were an ukiyo-e reproduction house. That's how they got started. Very nice. This isn't going out in the flea market. This is staying here with me. Very nice, very nice. But that first one, previous, I don't think that was Watanabe. No, I don't think so. But I better keep quiet. I don't know too much. I better keep quiet. Let's move on. Shenzhou reproduction. Thin paper. Thin paper. These are nicely made. This is a very happy batch of prints. Very happy batch of prints. Another one. Katsukawa Shenzhou. Delicately made, delicately carved. This was an auction I wasn't quite sure about, because the guy didn't give good pictures of them, but we've come out okay. And the auction price, they were in batches of 3. So for each batch of 3, I paid 1,500 yen. So these were 500 yen each. Very cleanly done. What is this? This is a mess. This is so much of a mess, it looks like an original. But the carving doesn't look anywhere near like the carving of an original. Look at this. I don't know what this is. This looks like a homemade reproduction. Paper looks like the paper of an original. The printer, it's... What's going on here? It's copied and pasted. It cut and pasted. There's a cut line, and a piece of paper is glued in at the back here, and you can see the knife marks around the outside. So somebody has cut something out and pasted something in. It says Toyokuni ga. But it looks homemade. The carving is so turkey. I don't know. No idea. No idea. A scrap of an original Toyokuni, I guess. I don't know. Who knows? Back to the subscription prints. Look at this. This is so overdone. Can you get this? Look at this. Look at this. This is not beautiful at all. They've just overdone it so much. This has gone in some kind of a press. They've made some kind of a ka-chunk to stamp this in. A little bit overdone on the karazuri. It's nicely carved though, you know, it's funny. This is a real mix. Bizarre coloration, even for Taisho era. Mechanical karazuri. I think the black lines, this is ink printed in a press, the key lines. And yet the rest of its colors are woodblock. This is a real mix. There's a bunch of strange prints in this package, you know. There's a bunch of strange prints. This is half mechanical, half woodblock. The key block is clearly mechanically printed. The karazuri is mechanically printed. The colors are normal woodblock colors, but with somebody with no taste. I don't know. I've never seen one like this before. Let's keep digging. We've got to keep moving. Where have we seen this before? Look. Look, 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 look. I'm seeing this minute. Let's skip ahead here. Why would he have had 3 copies? This is funny. Anytime we see multiple copies of a print, we immediately think we've got something from an old printer's workshop. It's leftover stock from a workshop or something. But these are folded. They're folded and they have the marks that clearly show they were torn out of magazines. So this is a bit strange. Why would somebody have the same 3 kuchie? Yeah, they're printed from different batches. Absolutely, they're printed from different batches. They're carved from different batches. The carving, color carving is different. This is going into the research folder. This is a prime. John says, save one of those for you. Sorry, John, they're all staying here. And I'm not being greedy here. They're all staying here. Dave has this wonderful theory about the kuchie. We can't talk about it here. We're out of time anyway. Maybe we'll save these for another day. The kuchie all show identical key blocks. Every last fragment of the key blocks are always identical. And whenever there's scratch carving, the scratches are the same. So the key blocks were the same. But we can even see it here. This green curve is different. There's at least one different pair of color blocks here. And if I look carefully, it could be possible that we've got 3 different sets of color blocks here. So the kuchie were clearly made in group workshops. The key blocks were duplicated and sent around to different workshops, but the color blocks were recarved in each workshop because they were under time pressures. So these are staying here, and we will be taking close-up pictures and putting something on the website about this. We really, this is extremely valuable research material, having more than one copy of the individual print. So sorry, it's not one for me and the rest for the flea market. These are staying here. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. How much more have we got? There's 21 prints altogether. We got 3 or 4, 5 or 6 more. Let's just go through to the bottom here, see what we've got. This also is really, really interesting. Really, really interesting. Someone, and this again, I'm guessing Meiji era. This is a Meiji era reproduction. The original print would have been a full Oban print. This is a reproduction, and it's done in monochrome. And it's funny, that's the same thing we're doing now with our print this year for the first print in this year's series. We've done it in monochrome. And these guys have taken colored sumi. There's a tight tinge of green, slight tinge of blue. This is really, really a beautiful print. Monochromed ukiyo-e. This is old. This is easily 100 years old. This is Meiji era. It's on terrible paper. But what a wonderful, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful print. Karazuri on the fan. This is a treat. This is a special one. There's writing on the back of some of these. We're going to have to look at these. I didn't look at all of them. Some of them had, there's some kind of a dealer or somebody who has been writing on these. U, B in a circle. Another one had something written on it. Here, this has got A in a circle, L with A in a circle. So some dealer has had these, and he's coded them or something in some way. This one's got writing on the back. Shenzhou, fall, part of 4 seasons, flower with the 3. So these prints have been through some Western dealer's hand, or maybe a collector, I don't know. The kind of people that would scribble stuff on their prints. We don't do that anymore. But this is beautiful. This is really, really interesting to study this grayscale monochrome. I've never seen this before. No idea. Again, another Taisho era reproduction. Same thing. L-A, A in a circle. Oh, look at this. Miniature Hashire. Hokusai reproduction here. Hokusai. How can you tell it's Hokusai? The jiggy, 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 jiggy. They've also been glued in. Stuff has been glued in to an album. Toyokuni. Oh, look at this. This is 3. Look at this. Utamoto. That's a nice little set. These are reproductions, of course. This is late Meiji or Taisho. Set of 3 Hashirai. 1,500 yen. They're not worth anything, you know. And the British Museum would not even bend over and pick these up off the floor, you know. Nobody cares about simple reproductions like this. So they're worthless in the market. They're worthless. But they're so nicely made, such nice things, you know. 1,500 yen for 3 of them. Back to our flowers. Oh, this is Kyoto. Kyoto. They're torn from an album. Clearly, they're taken out from an album. That's the end of it here, is it? It's white. It's white stuff on top. There's a block carved of these white things, and this is gofun powder printed on top. So the whiteness you're seeing here is not white paper. It's white pigment. It's funny because the paper itself is so toned and aged. That's interesting, you know. There's your paper color. Yeah, taken from an album, clearly ripped out of an album somewhere. And the last one again, like the first one, is Chinese. This is absolutely from a Chinese album. It's Chinese paper. It's Chinese printing. There's nothing Japanese about this one at all. This is Chinese, like we saw at the very beginning. So 2 of these are Chinese flower prints. The rest of them are a mix of Japanese stuff. But the biggest surprise for me, the real nice surprise for me, is to see this Kajita Hanko. Very nice. Very nice. Okay, there we have a little unboxing. Sorry, I'm not quite sure what all of those are. They're very, very nice prints. Nice catch. They won't all be in the collection right away, but they will go in bit by bit by bit. And at some point, we'll get them into our collection. Okay, here we are, here we are, here we are. Nice little treasure find. So, okay, gang, thanks very much. Today's Saturday. I'll be back here 2 days from now. And what will the work be? The work will be carving more on that block, perhaps. And we'll be thinking to make plans for the New Year's stream. So I'll have a look at the calendar and see what days, Mondays and Saturdays and Thursdays are. And if I can swing it, we will maybe have a printing stream or a couple of printing streams somewhere in late December or early January, if I can swing that. Not quite sure about it, but we might give that a try. There we are. Okay, I'm out of here. Thanks very much, guys. I've enjoyed this. I'll enjoy at lunchtime chatting with you on the reading the chat. See you next time. Thanks very much again. Bye for now. The sucks are starting to come alive. It's going to be a busy, busy day out there. A very busy day out there. Okay, bye for now.